also live now on another number of other platforms. I should be live now on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I should be live on YouTube. I'm hoping that it's all kind of working out and I am live all over the place. Fingers crossed. If the tech works, that is what will be happening. So thank you for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. I can see that everywhere is just about online, although LinkedIn doesn't look like it's going to come online. But then I had that problem last week too, so that's okay. So today's session, for everyone that is joining, please do say hello. Hi, folks. I can see I'm getting some hellos on TikTok. Hello. Do say hello if you are watching this live on whatever platform you are watching. I am able to see comments, so please do come and say hello to me. I hope you can all hear me and I hope you can all see me okay. So today's session, I want to speak about some recent updates that have come out in relation to UK businesses and the support that they currently have for coronavirus from the government. So hello, everybody. Thank you so much for saying hello. I appreciate when I see some hellos come through. I really, really do appreciate that. Otherwise, it sometimes can feel just like I'm talking to myself. So thank you. I really appreciate that. TikTok, I can see that you are very active. So thank you so much. I am doing very well. Thank you for asking. So today's session, I want to speak about the support for UK businesses and coronavirus and the latest updates that have been coming out around that. For those of you that don't know me and you're wondering what you've stumbled into, my name is Annette Ferguson. I'm CEO of Annette & Co, UK-based accounting firm. I'm a chartered accountant and certified profit first professional, and I help business owners take home more money from their business. So great, Chris. Is that Christine or Christian? Sorry, Christian, I am here. I am on Periscope. I am live on Periscope. I am live on Twitter as a result of being live on Periscope as well. So it's good to have the acknowledgement. TikTok's a bunch of silly dancing. It's not. I promise you, TikTok is a great place as well. You should check it out. It is a lot of fun. There is some dancing on there. But as a TikTok community will tell you, there's also a load of great stuff as well. Awesome. So I've got some people saying, oh, somebody who I can't actually see their name. It says Facebook user, unfortunately, says they're in a 4N meeting, else they would have tuned in. That's no problem. I get it. There's lots of stuff going on at the moment. So, and I can see some people joining on Instagram now as well. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for saying hello as you join. I appreciate that as well. So, like I said, today's session is about some of those updates that are coming out all around the UK government support for coronavirus. So I've got a few notes here to make sure that I cover everything that I want to cover with you guys today. First off, I want to speak about the coronavirus business interruption loan scheme, which some people are terming SIBLs, which is kind of cute, isn't it? It sounds like a bit like a furry animal. It's not kind of working out that way for many businesses, though. As at a couple of days ago, there were 300,000 applications for one of these loans, and there were 4,200 that had been agreed, and we don't even know how many out of them have actually physically been paid out. Now, out of those 4,200 loans that have been agreed, we've heard that 70% of those have come out from the Royal Bank of Scotland, from RBS. RBS, of course, is a government-controlled bank, so it may not be much of a surprise. But the more interesting thing and the more notable thing for many, many business owners who are trying to get this loan, if you have applied for this loan, the biggest problem, hey everyone, thank you so much for saying hello as you join. I really, really do appreciate it. The biggest problem with this loan at the moment is that most of the banks that are issuing this loan, there are over 40 banks issuing these loans. A huge number of those, particularly the major high street banks, have their loan processing departments in India. And India is under incredibly strict lockdown. Somebody's saying their mom works for RBS. Wonderful, that's awesome. And India is under incredibly strict lockdown at the moment. So that means that they are struggling to process any of the loans through, which is why we're having a big problem with that. Now, I've heard from HSBC that they are saying it's going to be at least 6 to 8 weeks until they can actually get loans processed through and paid out. So that's going to cause a big problem. The whole premise of these loans was so that we could try and, the government could try and get funding across to businesses as they needed it as quickly as possible. And that's just not materializing. What have we got? We got some commenters here. Let's see. Where am I in the UK? Robert, I am currently about 20 miles south of Edinburgh is where we are based, where I am based. Somebody's saying, do I believe everything I hear? No, I do not. However, this is the case. This is what the situation we are in at the moment with the loan scheme is that very, very few loans have been agreed. I am struggling to find anyone, either clients or in my network, so speaking to other accountants and their clients who have actually had any physical payment from this loan scheme yet. So this loan scheme that was brought in to try and support businesses through this time looks like it's not going to be paying out in any meaningful way for potentially at least a couple of months yet. By which time most of us will hope that actually we'll be able to trade again for those that have not been able to trade and those kinds of things. So that's a real issue for businesses at the moment, that loan scheme. And if you are relying on that loan or hoping for that loan in order to get your business through this time, just be aware that that is what is currently happening with it. And it may end up that it may not necessarily be the savior that you need it to be for your business at this point in time. So that's where we are with the loan scheme. Let me just check to make sure I don't have any questions coming through on that. If you do have questions, please do feel free to ask those in the comments. There is somebody on Periscope is saying who hasn't been able to trade at this time. So, for example, I have a client who runs a hairdressing salon. She can't cut hair. Just now, none of her team can cut hair. So there are a number of businesses that are just not able to operate just now because they physically can't do the job that they need to do. If you have an online business, of course, it might be very different, but there's a huge number of businesses. There's huge numbers of high street retail shops have closed, both independents and chains. There's a lot of people who are struggling to trade at the moment who can't do what they do. Now, let's see if I've got any questions coming through on any of these other platforms. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Anything on TikTok? Let's have a look. Okay, good. I think we're good on the loan scheme. So like I said, if anyone does have any questions, please do let me know in the comments. I will be answering those. I can see comments on all platforms coming through. So please do let me know if you have any questions or comments. Somebody is asking about the grants. It's very annoying that I can only see Facebook user and I can't actually see the name of the people on Facebook that are coming through. But that's okay too. So whoever is asking how long should the grants take on Facebook, I'm sorry that it's not showing me your name. I'm gonna speak about the grants now, actually. So the grants that are available for businesses that have premises, the grants that are available are £10,000 or £25,000 grants that are available. Now, the money has already been transferred from central government to local government for the grant payouts, and around a third of grants have already been paid out. I spoke to a client this morning who got her money this morning. So keep an eye on that because grants are currently, as we speak, being paid out. A number have already been paid out. Now, what you might want to do if you have not done already is check your council's website. Excuse me, check your local authority's website, because some local authorities are requiring you to submit forms, to submit bits of paperwork. So please make sure that you have done what is necessary for your council in order to receive your grant. So if you have not done anything yet, please do go onto the site and check to see what the process is for your council so that you can claim anything that is applicable for your business, whether it's a £25 grant or £25,000 grant or the £10,000 grant. Make sure that you know their process so that you can get that. Somebody saying Mid Sussex Council has told me weeks to months. Yeah, it certainly shouldn't be weeks to months. They will already have the money. Now, the part of the problem with the council's processing is that they are processing hundreds of these a day. Every council, I heard one council yesterday making 450 payments a day. And of course, councils will also be operating, remember, on potentially reduced staff due to illness and that kind of thing. So that is causing an issue, is the number of transactions they can physically process in a day. So if you have in a big council area, that is going to be a problem, but it certainly shouldn't take months. And as I say, a third of grants have already been paid out to people. So they are coming out already, and the money is with the local authority at the moment. The money is at the local government, the local level. It's not at central government level anymore. Hey, Connie. Connie's saying she's shared into her group. Thank you so much for sharing the live into your group, Connie. I really, really appreciate that. So that's where we are on the grants. Now, one thing that we need to cover as well with the grants is that in the guidance, in the information that has been sent out around the grants, there is no mention of the taxable status of the grants. However, by default, grants provided in this way would be taxable. Therefore, at the moment, without further guidance, we have to assume that these grants are taxable on a business and they're treated as other income. Now, they wouldn't be applicable for VAT purposes, but they would for corporation tax or self-assessment, depending on whether you're a limited company or a sole trader. So please remember that this may potentially be taxable as income in your business. So if you are somebody who sets aside a percentage of their income that comes into their business for tax purposes, please also do that with this grant, because there's a high potential that it is taxable. Okay, that's something that we really need to be aware of. Thank you, whoever the Facebook user that's coming through as Facebook user says, loving updates. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for saying. It means a lot to me. Thank you. I honestly do. Now let's see if we've got, yes, Jason, I am going to speak about the furlough start dates. I'm going to be speaking about that as well. That's part of my update today. Let's see if we've got any other questions here. Sarah's saying, what are we talking about? Sarah on TikTok. Sarah, we are speaking about the UK support for businesses during this time, during coronavirus, and some updates on that have come out over the last few days. So that's what we're speaking about today on this live. Let's have a look and see if we've got any other questions. Danny Boy saying, hi from Glasgow. Hello, I'm not far away. I'm in the Scottish borders. I'm in Peebles. So I'm not too far away from you in Glasgow there. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, great. So we've covered the loan scheme. We have covered the grant situation. Now what I want to speak about is the furlough scheme. So the job retention scheme that is in place. The job retention scheme, the purpose of it is basically to help businesses retain staff over this period of time. So for those of you that are not that clear on it, I'm just going to give you a quick recap. It is a situation where you can put your staff into furlough. You can say that you do not need to work at this time, and you can claim 80% of their wages from the government in order to pay over to them, plus your employer's national insurance, plus pension contributions for employers as well. So you can claim that as a grant into your business in order to basically keep your employees on the payroll. Now, there's a couple of updates that I want to share with you around the job retention scheme. The first off is that initially with this scheme, the date at which people had to be on the payroll was the 28th of February. That has been changed. That has been moved to the 19th of March. However, you have to have submitted a RTI, so a payroll submission, a real-time information submission on or before the 19th of March that has that person in it. So what this means in practice is that people who submit payroll on a monthly basis, the last day of the month, say, or the last Friday of the month, something like that, if you've had someone join between your February submission and your end of March submission, they still won't be eligible because they won't have been included in an RTI submission during that time. Okay, so that's something that's important to understand, is that they have to have been on be put through an RTI or a payroll submission before the 19th of March in order to qualify. But they have changed the date on that. So if you do 4 weekly payroll, for example, or weekly payroll, 2 weekly payroll, it may be that some of your staff are now entitled to this where they may have possibly not been before. Deirdre, I can see your question on Scotland. I will come back to that. On the Scottish Government, I will come back to that as well. Somebody's saying, I only have updates about it in the UK and not in the US. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a UK-based accountant, so I cannot speak for the US support, and I can't speak for, the US tax system or the US laws or US company law or any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I am only updating on the UK support because I don't have any knowledge of the US support for this at all. That's why, just to let you know on that one. And somebody who's asking, that's Danny, is asking, do they need to top up by 20% to the 100%? So question on the furlough scheme, like I mentioned, it's 80% grant that is being paid from the government to the employer to pay to the employee who is under furlough. Now, the question that Danny is asking is, does the company need to top that up by the missing 20%? And Danny, the answer is no, there is no requirement to top up the funds. However, you can if you wish. If you want to top up those funds to 100%, you are allowed to do that. You're entitled to do that, but you can still only claim the 80% from the government. So you can top it up if you wish. I'm just going to take a drink of tea as well. There we go. That's better. So the scheme to submit the information to furlough your staff is, the portal is going to be opened on the 20th of this month. Okay. It's going to be opened on the 20th, and HMRC have said payments should land in your bank account within 6 working days. So the portal will open on the 20th, and of course, hundreds of thousands of people will start submitting it. So it may be possible that you might not actually manage to submit your own information on the 20th because they have said there are going to be online queues, etc., for submission, so the system doesn't crash. That will be something that will be seen on Monday as to how that actually goes and how many businesses actually manage to submit on that day. But if you are submitting on the 20th, then realistically, if you have a payroll that lands on the last Friday of the month, it's going to be unlikely that you will have received your furlough money in to pay it out on that day. So you might have an issue there. Now, some companies are trying to pay their employees on the dates that they would have ordinarily been paid anyway. Others are having a discussion with their employees and saying, if we don't have the cash in, it's going to be very hard for us to pay the cash out because we don't have funds sitting waiting to do that. Because this is basically an amendment to your employment contract, you can have that discussion with your employees and how that looks. Hey, Simone, thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you hopping on. Incidentally, I appreciate all of you who are hopping on, and thank you for those that are saying hello to me. Thank you for those that are kind of giving me waves and all those kind of good things. I really do appreciate you tuning in. And hopefully this is helpful to you as well. So that is kind of where we are with the furlough scheme now. There has been, kind of leading on from this, there's been a lot of discussion around, can directors furlough themselves? What are they allowed to do whilst furloughed? Many people have argued with me a lot over the last few weeks about what directors are entitled to do when they're furloughed and what they are not. I have been saying that they're not allowed to do anything other than basically statutory filing work. I've had a lot of pushback from other people on that, but thankfully we've had some clear guidance that came out yesterday from the government, which basically says exactly that. It says that directors can do filing of company accounts or provision of other information relating to the administration of the director's company. So basically all you can do is stuff that is related to the required filings. So that would be annual accounts, corporation tax return, payroll submissions, furlough submissions. So you can do administration related to that or the filing of that information, but anything else you cannot do. Anyone who is arguing and saying that you can keep in contact with your customers, that you can post on social media, that has been taken out from any argument. There is no gray area here, that you cannot do any other work other than basically statutory filings and continue and claim yourself as furlough as a director. If you are a director and you're a furlough, the only thing you can do is statutory filings. It's really, really clear now in the legislation that has been passed, that was passed yesterday. So please don't listen to anyone that is telling you that you can still market, you can still contact your customers and clients. You can't do any of that. If you do that whilst furloughed, you are basically, to all intents and purposes, committing benefit fraud. And HMRC have come out and said that anyone who is furloughed and working, they will be subject to criminal prosecution. They've also said that they retain the right to indefinitely audit this time period for that. So please, please be aware of that when you are making decisions on what you want to do in your business. Let's have a look at some questions as well. So what can we see? Let's look at our different streams, and I'm just going to pull up and see if we've got any questions that I have not already covered. Okay, so I think I've covered all the questions that we have coming through on TikTok. Let's look on Instagram. Let's see if we got any on here. I do not think we have any more questions on Instagram. Let's look at the stream that's coming through from Facebook. So Facebook, Deirdre said, is the Scottish government offering anything different? Not materially, Deirdre. There are some slightly different rules around the grants for properties. First property, you get 100% of the grant, and then subsequent properties, you get 75%. And that was just recently changed yesterday. But not materially different. No, not materially different. Most stuff has been written into Scottish law as well. And let's see if we got anything more on Periscope. We do not. Michael is saying, do we know when the government may extend furlough? Michael, I'm not exactly sure on your question. So just to cover off, furlough is able to be backdated to the 1st of March. And they've said it will be for 3 months. So I'm wondering, Michael, if you mean if they're saying, will furlough be able to be extended beyond that 3-month period that they've said it will be made available for at the moment? We haven't heard anything on that at all. So at the moment, it's kind of March, April, and May that they're saying they will cover furlough for. Now, we can guess that if we're in lockdown beyond that, then they potentially would, but we don't have any concrete information on that at all, and I don't like to do mass speculation on laws or any of the rulings. So I like to go on kind of what is in black and white and what is agreed and what is the situation. Michael's saying, as they said, it was 3 months. So how much notice before the end of the 3 months? I'm not 100% sure what you're saying there. So they've said they'll cover furlough for a 3-month period. The minimum you can furlough yourself or a member of staff is 3 weeks. So you could you can furlough for 3 weeks and then you could come off furlough. So or you could have somebody furloughed for the entire 3 months. There is no there's no kind of other stuff around that. I don't think you're saying thank you, Michael. So I'm hoping that I've answered your question there on that. Does anyone else have any other questions? Please do let me know in the comments. If you do, whatever platform you are on, please do let me know in the comments. I would love to be able to answer those. So please do let me know. I also want to share with you that a number of high street businesses have already gone into administration. They include Warehouse, Oasis, Kath Kidston, Carluccio's, Bright House, and Debenhams have all already gone into administration. Now, you know, we can kind of guess. There was me saying that I don't like to do guesses, but we can guess that those businesses were probably not in the healthiest places to start with, because they couldn't last a couple of weeks without folding. So they were probably in a pretty precarious position coming into this. Hopefully, everyone that's listening, businesses are not in such a precarious position coming into this, and you're able to ride out some of the storm a little bit easier than some of these bigger ones have been. Hopefully some people have started getting their grants through. As I said, a third of grants have been paid, so that can be quite helpful for businesses with premises as well, that those are coming out. And of course, for anyone who's furloughed staff, we should be getting furlough payments ideally by the end of the month, depending on whether those process times that have been quoted by HMRC hold true as well. Karen is saying, we stopped working on the 20th of March. Do I claim furlough from the 20th of March, as this is when we stopped working? So Karen, for your team, it depends when you put them on furlough, basically. So if you put them on furlough from the 20th of March, then that is when you would claim from. To have somebody on furlough, you have to have written to them, and they have to have accepted furlough as well. So if they were on furlough, if you put them on furlough straight away and they were doing no work for the business, I mean no work at all, zero work, then they can be furloughed from the 20th of March. If they were doing any work in the business, they can't be furloughed from the 20th of March. So it's basically the date that they stopped doing any work at all in the business is the date that you can furlough from. You can't furlough from before that time period. So I hope that answers your question, Karen. If you're speaking in relation to yourself, if you are a company director, then again, it's when you stopped doing work in the business, other than anything required for a statutory filing. So if you are a director in a company and you're speaking about yourself, again, it's the date you absolutely stopped doing work. If you're continuing to work, if you're continuing to do work in your business, and that includes marketing, that includes contacting clients, that includes social media, includes, you can't furlough. Or if your team is doing any of that as an employee, they can't furlough. So furlough is zero work, nothing at all. I want to be, as clear as I possibly can be on that, because there's not a gray area here. So if they stopped work completely on the 20th, then you can claim from the 20th. So it's looking at that. And like I say, for furlough, you need to have written a letter to your employee informing them of furlough, and they need to have acknowledged that and accepted it, so that there needs to be a two-way communication on the agreement of furlough as well, because it's basically an alteration to their employment contract. So that's kind of where that comes from. Good. So let me see if I have any other questions to answer. I cannot see anything coming through. Please do let me know if you have any other questions. Please do ask them in the comments, and I will be happy to answer those. Let me just check on some of the other platforms as well. We have nothing on there, and let's have a look on here. Can I please say hi, Chloe? Yeah, hi, Chloe. I can. Let's see what else we've got. Lovely. Any other questions? No, I cannot see any other questions coming through. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. I will be live on all these platforms again, same time next week. I went live a tiny bit early this week, but it will be about 11 o'clock on Thursdays that I will be live on all platforms. I will probably be live in between then on one or two platforms as well. For example, if you are in the Uncover Wealth community, I'm going to be going live on Tuesday around about 1:30 with you guys too, and some other platforms I will be going live as well. Hi Tanner, thank you so much for saying hello. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I know your time is incredibly precious, and I appreciate you spending some of it with me. I hope that this has been useful for you. I hope that this session has given you value, has given you some things to think about, and has explained some things for you as well that you may not have been sure of otherwise. Wherever you have tuned in, thank you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the follows, all the likes, all the loves, all the hearts, all the thumbs ups, all the whatever it is on whichever platform you are on. I massively, massively appreciate it. Thank you so much. Please do, if you are not connected with me on whatever platform you're watching, please do give me a follow. Please do connect with me, because I would love to serve you as much as I possibly can and support you as much as I possibly can. So I really appreciate your connections, your follows, your friending, all those kinds of things. So thank you so, so much. I will sign off now, but I will speak to everyone really soon. Take care, and thanks again for tuning in. See you.